Good afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel. Chris Dennis here, putting specialist and short game performance coach. Today's video, as you'll see in the title, we're going to go through how I've saved James Robinson's short game.
That's me.
And he is currently the cameraman because I have forgot my tripod. So we're going to go through what we did with James, how we worked on his short game. We all know that he was a fan of 60 from every single shot, but over the last couple of months his technique's improved. He's now playing different shots, and that is what we're going to go through today.
See, I can't even find my 60 anymore, I don't use it. There you go.
So you didn't even know where it was anymore. So let's get straight into it, James. We're going to play a couple of different shots around the green now.
Yep.
So let's just go into the edge of the semi-rough, and we can see the flag is back of the green there.
Yeah.
So now with this shot, what club are you using?
Well, I've got the 60 in the hand, but to be honest, I'm now using, I haven't gone full Chris Dennis mode yet. I haven't gone gap wedge. I'm using a 56.
Okay.
Primarily because I still feel like I can fly it halfway there. I still feel like I'm controlling the loft nicely, but it does run out a little bit more than a 60. I was finding that using lob wedge all the time, although it was fun, it was leaving me probably 10 foot putts instead of 4 or 5 foot putts, which are obviously a lot more makeable. This one's uphill a bit left to right. And you can see there, I've flown that pretty much 3/4 of the way. It's released out a bit, and I've got a 4 foot uphill putt, which for me is fine. I think you talk about tour averages a lot in your videos. That's pretty much tour average. I'm going to make probably 70% of those putts. If I used lob wedge and it landed in the same place, which I probably would do, it's a 10 foot putt, I'm going to make 30–40% of those. Would you agree with that?
I'd agree with that. And then the main thing we worked on with yourself was getting that right hand to release, wasn't it? So just show us the drill that we had.
The drill, and I've done a couple of videos on this drill as well, because it's such a good drill for most people who struggle with short game. I was wondering if you might throw me a ball down. Was right hand down the spine of the shaft, or the back spine of the shaft, should I say there.
Yep.
Take the club back and allow the face to open, and then rotate the upper body and the club head to get that right hand then pointing through here. And I actually chipped like this for a while on the golf course just to try and bed it in, and you can see there a nice release on it. The ball gets up in the air, obviously not quite as good a shot as a normal shot because it is a drill, but the more I did this, the more I found that I was getting more loft on the golf ball. Hung back off that one a little bit. But again, all these shots with the wrong club, we'll go off the fairway here to get a nicer lie. That was the one. How much loft did I get on that?
So plenty of loft, spun up quite well there. And like you say, it was getting that release and your body turning. We can see there from your demonstrations, it's a lot of body and a lot of release, whereas before you had to use your 60 because it was driving. But
it was more so the strike as well. So let's get these balls back and I'll show you something else. So with any club, it was about ball striking for me. I was actually duffing quite a lot of chips, and we've all been there duffing chips. It's not a nice place to be. That was because I wasn't rotating the face enough through impact and utilising the bounce on the bottom of the club. And I think you'll be quite pleased that I'm explaining this to you, because I didn't really understand it, did I, when you tried teaching it me?
No, so that was it. It was a lot of hands forwards and driving, whereas now we're using the loft and allowing that body to shallow it out.
But I can still do that. I can still get the handle forward and ball position back. I'm not digging with a square face. I'm allowing that club face just to rotate, still providing loft to the ball. And even with this is a 50-degree wedge now, because the club's rotating and I'm getting that loft to it, the ball still pops up. So you can see I'm actually allowing the ball to land where I want it and hopefully move towards the flag. Those strikes are, I mean, they're so good. I feel so comfortable with them. Oh. Whereas before, I would have got lob wedge out here. I would have probably taken a small divot off the side of the green. Sorry, Rich and the guys here at Wortley. But now I feel like I can just turn, rotate the chest, get the strike, and play a pretty good shot. That was a little bit aggressive, but trying to make it for the camera. I still use lob wedge sometimes.
So let's see you play the lob wedge now. Let's find a shot around this green where lob wedge can work. So here we've got a tough shot. As we know, the percentages here, anything inside 10 feet would be a good shot. But it's where you can now use your 60. It's not driving, it's not digging.
To be fair, Chris, as well here, anything, I mean, I played here as a kid, and that, you know, here at Wortley Golf Club, this isn't the place to be at all. I'm even going to clean that face there on these clean trousers.
Ooh.
To try and get a bit more spin, don't tell Laura. But again here, I'm still going to use that loft, use the bounce, rotate that club face around and not try and sit. Oh, see there, quite attacking. It's not really a shot you can play low, but I just feel really comfortable in rotating that club round. They're two fantastic shots, and I can even take it into the bunker, Chris, as well. Similar point, because when people think short game, they just think chipping, whereas these greenside bunker shots used to plague me a bit. Now I'm turning the club and using the bounce. That's a worst case scenario. It's out, it's puttable, and even shots like this, which nobody like, tight lie over a bunker onto a downslope.
Done some quality zooming there both times. I've pressed the zoom in instead of out.
Have you?
Fans will love it.
Club face open, turn, keep the weight left, and slam the bounce into the deck. And again, it's just a good golf shot, isn't it? Just because it's not going in or lipping out, they're Hollywood shots that you see watching the PGA Tour on Sky. They're real shots which you can learn to play yourself with lessons from Chris.
So one of the things we changed over the time, James, is going back to an original putter of a Newport.
Newport 2, this one, Chris, Scotty Cameron.
Yeah, and a little bit longer than the putters you've been using, so you was very much somebody who would switch and change when you got new putters.
Yeah.
And they were a little bit short. So we've got a 35-inch putter, which now gets your posture very good, eyes just inside the ball.
Eyes just inside the ball. And then the big things in the routine as well, Chris. I feel like I'm aim point reading again, I'm making sure I get the pace right, and I'm actually holing way more putts than I have been doing. Obviously you're not going to hole all of them, but I'll send you some that I have been holing for you to overlay here, because I just feel really confident over all my putts, and confidence is a huge factor when you're putting, as you know. Finding the right putt is massive, but finding the right stroke, we actually lengthened my backstroke, didn't we?
Yeah,
and shortened the through stroke, so it was more of a stroke and not a hit.
And that's it. If you've got a good stroke, I always say you should be able to putt with most putters, but a putter you are confident with is always going to help. But this is the right size for James, gets him into that posture that we need, and then from there it's much easier for him to just stick to his routine, which most amateurs don't, and hole putts. So this is a bit of a review of James over this year. So this is something we do a lot. When you come for lessons, it's a case of, right, we need to review, we need to see how you've done over the season and what we need to work on going into the next year. I know pitching is something James wants to have a look at over the winter, and that might be something that we are going to go through in the next couple of months. So some good improvements from James. I don't like to give him compliments on the most of the time.
I feel like I'm letting you down not holing these, but they're all good putts.
But he's scaring the hole, and now before we might see them rock it 3 or 4 foot past or come up short with his old technique. So James, thank you for demonstrating some great shots.
I'm holing this one.
Okay, we'll wait for this one then.
The big thing has been the lack of 3 putts and the ones I've holed from 20-30 feet that you wouldn't expect to hole.
Yeah, so holing a lot more, a lot less 3 putts, and you've won a lot more games. Scaring the edges.
Go on.
Go. So guys, that's just a quick review of James's short game. In the coming months, like I said, we are going to look at his pitching. We'll go through what he's got. We'll look at the setup of wedges he's got. We know he's got Vokeys. We certainly know he's got a 60, but we're going to see how he's pitching from those funny yardages, from your 30 feet, from 30 yards up to 120. What kind of...
I have been known to pitch from 30 feet.
Well, that is true. What kind of shots he's playing, how he can improve that, and how that also might improve your pitching. So guys, thanks for watching. See you later in the week.
And book a lesson on Skillist.
Very good point.